In Your Business is a presentation of RareGem Productions, hosted on the Business Mind and Money Network of OneRareGem.com. Visit OneRareGem.com. Highlighting young professionals who are making things happen in their communities. The movers and shakers with bold passion, creative ideas, and big visions. In Your Business with your host, Raegan Johnson.
Welcome to In Your Business, the show that highlights young professionals who are making things happen. I'm your host, Raegan Johnson, and today I am happy to have in the studio the two-woman team, Rachel Tibbetts and Ellie Schwetye of Slightly Askew Theatre Ensemble. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Well, can I get in your business?
Certainly.
All right.
Yes.
Well, why don't you tell us about Slightly Askew and both of your roles related to the theater ensemble?
Okay.
Anybody can go.
Go, Ellie. Go.
So Slightly Askew Theatre Ensemble was formed in 2006, headed up by a woman named Margot Bowie-Steinow, along with a number of St. Louis theater artists. Rachel Tibbetts was one of them, of the original founding members. And then I came along in 2008 to join the company. Basically, the company is all about gathering artists of all different disciplines to work together to create theater, tell stories, workshops. And then we would train on a weekly basis in different movement styles or voice styles to sort of build that kind of ensemble feel among the different artists.
Awesome. So what are your specific roles related to the company?
This is Rachel. I'm the artistic director, and I took the reins over from our founding artistic director, Margot Bowie-Steinow, who did such a beautiful job of finding our company in 2010. And so the artistic director traditionally is in charge of like the artistic decisions of the company, like deciding what shows you're going to do for the season and just kind of keeping an eye on all things artistic. But because it's just Ellie and I, and she's the managing director, and traditionally that is a role that kind of oversees all of the financial and business decisions of the company. But we really do work as a collaboration, as a team. So we're doing both of those things. So we should maybe find a way to combine our titles.
Create a different title.
Right.
Well, you all act and direct and do some writing. You all do a multitude of things. Ellie, you even recently got an award. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was the 2014 Outstanding Sound Designer in the St. Louis Theater Circle Awards, which is a group of all of the theater critics in St. Louis who nominate different categories, sort of like the Tonys or the Oscars, but just for our little St. Louis theater scene. And I was sound designing for a production we did called The Woman in Black. And I had really never sound designed before, but took it on as a challenge because, again, it was sort of like, well, somebody needs to do this job and I'll just jump in and do it. And I really found I enjoyed it and had a good time putting together the sound and was sort of shocked when, the announcement was made. So it was fun.
I burst out of my seat when they announced her name. Just my heart exploded with happiness. It was just such a wonderful moment, not only for Ellie, but just for Slightly Askew Theatre Ensemble as well.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing and congratulations. So how did you two get involved in theater?
My grandfather used to call me Little Miss Hollywood. Well, I thought I was Annie when I was little. I saw the movie and then I just always sang the songs and, just was always performing. But I was actually really shy when I was around just essentially anyone else my age. I was kind of a bookworm, that type of thing. And in middle school, I joined my school's theater program. And it was the first time I really felt like I fit in. And so just from there, I continued doing theater in high school. And then I went to Oklahoma State University and I was a theater major. And I also had an interest in education. So I contemplated becoming, a teacher. And I realized that wasn't necessarily the track that I wanted to take, but I somehow wanted to kind of merge my love for theater and education together. So right out of college, I received an internship in Wilmington, Delaware at the Delaware Theater Company in their education department, which is really one of the top-notch education departments, theater company in the country. I was there for about 3 years and then I moved to St. Louis and I've been working in arts education ever since. And I didn't really know if I would ever be a performer. I thought maybe that I would just be a teaching artist and arts administrator. And then I received an invitation to Slightly Askew Theatre Ensemble. And it's taken me places I never imagined And very happy for it.
Ellie, what about you?
I was probably more outgoing as a kid than not shy. And so it just sort of kind of came out of childhood and interest, and then, school plays. I went to a small school in Massachusetts that wasn't a theater school, but had a great theater program, and from there majored in it in school. I moved back to St. Louis right after college, and I worked for a year at the Black Rep in their intern program, and then at a couple of other small companies, both in performance and in arts administration. And then I was doing a show with Margot, our founding artistic director, who told me about SATE, and SATE is our nickname for Slightly Askew. So she introduced me to it and brought me in, and then the rest is history. Kind of worked from there to where we are now.
And if the people have not seen you two on stage, it's really an amazing dynamic. I just saw Monster and you all play various characters. I wouldn't even remember my lines or who I was at the time, but it was a very cool production. So you all are extremely, extremely talented. What have been some of the challenges that go into sort of a theater production, being involved in theater?
I think with, mostly any nonprofit, the funding can, definitely be a challenge. But I think that, when you're an artist too, you find creative ways to raise money. Mm-hmm. And also I'm really proud of Ellie, and we've always been fiscally responsible, and, we really make decisions based on what we know we have and what we can get. So I'm a big believer in slowly growing something as well. And I think that we've both stuck to kind of that model, essentially in terms of fundraising and those types of things.
I think another challenge has been, because we are newer on the art scene, is growing our audience and also growing the number of artists who come out to our auditions and want to work with us. I really think that this current production, this current season was really, I think we really hit a good stride and finally kind of got a strong place in the community. I hope so anyway. And so we were able to, grab a lot of really talented artists to work with us this year, and have just made the production value of our shows kind of better than ever. And that's been really exciting.
Who do you all sort of look up to as, I would love to act with?
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if I've ever thought about that before.
I'm not even an actress, and I've thought about who I would love to act with.
Yeah.
So there has to be someone, or someone you just look up to as a source of inspiration, as a role model in your career field.
Well, I would certainly say Tina Landau, who created the viewpoints technique that our company was essentially founded in. It's an acting style, essentially, that's movement based. And I just would really love to sit down and take a class with her and have some coffee with her and just dive into her brain, because it seems like she's got a really great one. Ellie, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Tina Landau and Bogart, who kind of codified this movement or ensemble training technique. There's a lot of really great female artists in our city and, across our country that aren't getting enough accolade for the work that they do. And I would love to, have a collective almost of, female artistic directors or executive directors who are kind of making the theater happen in this country, and looking to them for, inspiration about how we kind of grow and bring arts to, more women and, the next generation of theater goers and theater makers.
For those artists who are maybe listening to the show and segment, and they want to get involved in theater or acting, and they have no clue about how to get started, what is your advice for them?
I think you have to be willing to try to put your hands on everything, every opportunity that you can give. Even if you're just interested in being a performer, there's so much you can learn by dipping into sound design or, a stage management, all of those things that happen behind the scenes. But for the performance on stage, we couldn't be there without those people. And then just being really savvy in terms of business too. I think that a lot of people end up thinking that they want to start their own company, and they're wonderful artists, but maybe don't have a huge sense of the business aspect of running a company, and not being afraid to collaborate and ask questions of others who are already doing the work. and just being open to any and all suggestions. Like there's just a lot of openness, I think, that has to go into, making something successful.
Yeah, I agree totally. It's collaboration and flexibility are huge components. Also, being able to dive in and kind of help out wherever it needs. Being a team player is huge. So for young artists, everybody has to be the low man on the totem pole at some point. So it's great to just say, I'm going to do it. And then you kind of show that you're willing and able, and then opportunities kind of flow your way. I mean, that's what I found in my experience.
Are there any other organizations that you all are involved in related to theater giving back? We don't have theater in the schools. We're losing some of the arts programs. So are you all involved in additional programs or giving back to the community or providing that resource to specifically the younger generations or generations who don't have access to those resources?
Yes, I work with another local nonprofit organization called Prison Performing Arts, which provides performing arts opportunities for both youth and adults in the Missouri criminal and juvenile justice systems. I've been with them for about 9 years. I've mainly worked with our youth programs, which are at St. Louis City Juvenile Detention Center and Hogan Street Regional Youth Center, which is a part of Missouri's Division of Youth Services.
Amazing.
I've done a lot of children's theater as well. I worked a lot with a nonprofit called Powhacket Theater for Children, which is unfortunately no longer with us in that capacity, but they've continued, and they're in another vein. But their whole message was character education through children's theater, mainly kind of adaptations of fairy tales that folks know. And so that's been really great to work with them and kind of perform for the younger generation. And, I've done that for 10 or 12 years. Mm-hmm. And it's really cool to see the kids that I met, a dozen years ago are now much older and going into theater themselves. And that's sort of heartwarming in a way.
So what's next for Slightly Askew? What do we have coming up?
We're wrapping up our season of The Monster, and we're looking ahead to our next season, which will be the season of Mistaken Identity.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Sounds intriguing.
And we'll do shows in February and August and November of 2015, which sounds really far away, but isn't.
So tell us how people can keep up with Slightly Askew Theatre Ensemble.
You can go to our website, slightly.off.org. You can also hit us up on the Facebook. And those are great ways to stay connected with us and get our schedule.
Well, I want to thank both of you ladies for joining me today. This has been a great experience, so I want to thank you both.
Thank you so much for having us here today.
Thank you so much.
Well, if you're listening and you want me to get in your business, make sure you shoot an email to iybRadioshow@yahoo.com. Again, I'm the host of In Your Business, Raegan Johnson. I'll see you next time.
In Your Business with Raegan Johnson, highlighting young professionals who are making things happen in their communities. The movers and shakers with bold passion, creative ideas, and big visions. If you have an idea, some feedback, or would like Raegan to get in your business, send an email to iybRadioshow@yahoo.com. That's iybRadioshow@yahoo.com. In Your Business is another positive production of RareGem Productions. Learn more at ONERAREGEM.com. Thanks for listening.